All right, so boys and girls, welcome back from our trip outside. And I have our project here. I have an example. We're going to be making these beautiful organic bird's nests using the following supplies. You want to get some small stones like this and try to make them rounded. So we have some rounded stones. You're going to need a stick for mixing. You're going to need some Elmer's glue. You're going to need a container, an old one. You're going to need a cup or a glass or something to work as a mold. You'll need a piece of tin foil, some paint, and finally some dirt. Now, boys and girls, I have to tell you, I didn't get this dirt from the earth. I actually got it from a potted plant because you want to try to find dirt or topsoil that's nice and dry. So if you do find some dirt before you make this project, just lay it out on a piece of paper and the sun will dry it off. And if you have a pot at home, maybe mom or dad can help you take a little bit of topsoil out of that. Take your container, it might be a bowl, and you want to put a few small handfuls of topsoil into the container. Now, depending on how much of this you want to make, that's up to you. I'm only going to make one nest right now. So now take your Elmer's glue and your stick, and you want this to be dry because when you put the glue in, it's going to make it moist. So you want to make sure that you have enough glue in there to get that soil to stick together, but you don't want it to turn into mud. So put some in, take your stick and just start stirring it around. You're going to need more than that, but the trick is to go slow and steady and only put in a little at a time. If you put too much, you run the risk of it becoming just a big mess inside your bowl. So I can see, look at that, it's already starting to turn. Okay. All right. You might want to do this outside on the porch. Do not do this on your living room sofa, right? Okay, this is starting to turn into... Whoop! Broke my stick here mixing. But I think that's good. Now, I'm gonna let it just soak in there for a second. Look at that. And I think I'm gonna let that sit. That looks pretty good. I might need a little more glue, but I think I'm good to go. Now the next step is to take a mold, and I want to make this, I use this glass to create this bird's nest. So you might want to make a wider bird's nest or a wider container, and I'll do that with this. So you want to take your aluminum foil and just cover your mold like that, piece of cake. And you want to take out your soil with your glue. And I'm working on a tablecloth here that I throw out at the end of all my projects. So it's okay if I get some dirt on my table here. And I'm just going to basically kind of play around with that for a minute and knead some of that glue. Kneading is when you push basically your clay or your dough. And I'm going to pour just a little bit on top for good measure. But do you see what that did? That created a nice material to create my nest. Now, you put your clay on top. We're going to call it clay, your soil. Okay, so boys and girls, what you want to do is you want to pat your dirt around your mold, and you can feel it if it's uneven. So just lightly push and smooth. And what's beautiful about using natural materials is don't worry if it's uneven. No bird's nest is perfectly level. And I love how that looks. I can flip it over and see how it's gonna look. So boys and girls, I'm gonna give this a long time to set up. This could take a couple days, but put it in a nice warm spot. All right, so boys and girls, here's one that I put outside and it had a lot of time to dry. And I'm just gonna take it off the mold. And I already did that ahead of time. But what you might have to do is wiggle out your mold like that. And then very carefully, just kind of pull your foil out and you'll get the beautiful nest. Now, I was on my nature walk and I found some of the beautiful moss that grows outside, and I'm going to use this inside my nest to create a cushioning for my eggs. Now, that obviously is not going to last forever. So if you have at home some fake grass like this here, you can use it, and I'm going to tuck that inside. Now look how beautiful that green pops against the dark of the soil. And now it's time to create the eggs for the nest. So those are what the little stones are going to be for. And I could leave them natural and pop them in, but I think for this project I am going to paint them because I think the color will look great against the green. And I know this time of year I sometimes find robin egg shells outside by my house. So I'm gonna take a little plate with some of that beautiful robin's egg blue, and I'm just gonna paint, let me pan you down a bit. There we go. I'm just gonna paint some of the stones blue. And just take your time. You might have to leave the spots where your fingers are and then go back and touch them up. Okay, so boys and girls, here are a couple of my eggs and they dried. See how nice they look. And I'm simply just gonna rest them in. And I think I am going, I'll put 3. Look how beautiful that is as a sculpture. So just by using topsoil, glue, and some natural ingredients and some paint, I was able to make this beautiful organic bird's nest. Now, if I wanted to, I can take out the moss and the eggs, and I can use this to put some other supplies in, although I do not recommend getting this wet again because you don't want it to get goopy and soggy. It's more of a sculpture. It's not meant for food. But you can see how beautiful that looks. I love it. So boys and girls, try to do the bird's nest. If you master it, you might want to take a picture of it outside on a branch and have mom or dad email me at pricet@pearlriver.org. I'd love to see the finished product. And if you master this and you would like to try some other natural art projects, please feel free to check on the other grade level links and see what they're doing as well. I miss you. I hope you guys had fun this week using nature as our art material, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.